Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Weather's pretty good this morning. I mean, it's a little cloudy and there's a chance for some thunderstorms this afternoon or evening or something like that. I had someone yesterday said, isn't it kind of funny or something like this? How many of your listeners live in your area? I don't know, probably a small percentage. Well, why you do the weather? No one cares. Probably not. But every time I've even hinted at not mentioning what's going on in my area with weather, everyone gets upset. They like it. So, plus, I'm an old Southern boy, and that's what we talk about. You know, we start a conversation with, well, how's the weather? What do you think about the weather? Oh, this weather. So it's just part of who I am, right? So there's a lot of things going on. I know you know that already, but the whole Iran-Israel thing, maybe not. Today they started some potential ceasefire negotiations with Israel and Gaza. Rumors is that Iran is waiting until that's over to make a decision on whether to move forward with their attacks. I don't know. Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was scheduled to go to Israel, and he's canceled that trip altogether. And they're saying they're doing it because of the potential for hostilities in that area. So maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they believe it's still a go. They're just kind of waiting. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's ridiculous, and it only proves my point even more, that it's all a game. It's all a charade. It's all just it's a plan with actors playing it out. Okay, that's all it is. Something that I've been warning you about for a while, and I know that it's not a shock to anyone, but it's getting into that time period. We should probably start gearing up. Hopefully some of you have been listening to me and gearing up for it for a while, but the potential for the next pandemic to creep up and happen before the election. Donald Trump yesterday actually said that he thinks that that's what they're going to do, is cause lockdowns and COVID-like restrictions and lockdowns before this election to help potentially prevent people from going to the polls, force a type of lockdown so that there has to be mail-in ballots. I don't know. But there's definitely evidence indicating that things are moving that way. Australia has already started to implement some COVID-like policies because of the H5N1 bird flu. Just yesterday, the World Health Organization issued this, global emergency declaration because of monkeypox. The bird flu stuff has been picking up, and then there's some other new disease out there. I think it was in Italy or somewhere where people are getting sick and dying. So there's several things going on when it comes to disease, whatever. So I still believe, amongst all the other things, that's also a strong possibility to happen. Pandemics are perfect control tools. They really are. They're also really great at causing a lot of disruption and chaos and horrible things, but they're really great at controlling people. And I know that, because I've thought this before. I've said this. I know that a lot of you are saying, yeah, but people got so burnt out with the whole COVID thing and realizing that it, wasn't anywhere near what they were trying to make it to be. That's true, but we are also dealing with a population that has very short attention spans. They don't have much when it comes to remembering what's happened in the past. They're like cattle, more so than ever before. We live in a dumbed down nation. I don't care how that offends anyone. I don't care if you want to argue with it. It's a fact. Whether it's people's cognitive abilities, their abilities to reason and think logically, hyper emotional, behavior, and then just the overall lessened, academic level. We live in a dumbed down nation, okay? And the whole public school compulsory, indoctrination centers have done their job. and they have dumbed people down. There's still a few good ones out there, I get it. There's still some great teachers out there. But the overall system has been effective in doing what it originally intended to do. And so the possibility of another pandemic creeping up and people falling into like, oh, it's scary, we've got to lock ourselves down. I know we did that like 4 years ago, but this time it's really bad, and we got to listen to everyone, and we got to socially distance, and we got to put our masks on, and you know, with the monkeypox, you're going to be putting a mask on your hind end, I guess. I mean, there's just all kinds of ridiculousness that this can easily lead into, and people are going to buy into it. I mean, there's going to be some people that won't, but the masses will buy into it, and then there's always the possibility that the next pandemic is actually really a deadly one. And so all the people that don't buy the hype could potentially actually die. So from our perspective being preppers, what I would suggest, and I've suggested this before, but let's go over it again. Number one, you need to plan and prepare in two different ways when it comes to this. Number one, prepare as if it really is a truly deadly disease. Just not that you're assuming it will be, but that you are going to have a plan put into place that in case it actually really is a deadly disease. You need to be stocking up on your supplements, probably similar things than what you took last time. You know, vitamin C, zinc, things like that. You need to, I mean, having some real types of masks, N95s, N99s, I mean, it's not a bad idea. Having the ability to isolate, even having the ability to decontaminate, because if it really is a deadly disease, you may need to be able to decontaminate yourself when you come home. Have plans to actually do lock in, because if it truly is a deadly disease, then, you know, you may need to lock yourself down. Then you should also plan on whether or not it's legitimate or not, but have plans in place of how to deal with just the mass hysteria and chaos. Because as things creep up and as they get bigger and bigger and as people buy into it more, you could certainly see that happening. They're already, you know, like the Democrat National Convention coming up, was it next week? They've already put warnings out for, you know, all the people there. I mean, it is the Democrats and it's monkeypox. So, I mean, it doesn't take too, you know, you don't have to be a genius to figure out how that one could be a super spreader. But anyways, seriously, there's already warnings being put out in certain places in large crowded people like, oh, you know, this could be a super spreader event. So the possibility of things, just the public reaction to it, and we have to prepare for that. You know, like I've said before, we are in a much worse place today than we were 4 or 5 years ago. You know, when the whole pandemic started and all that, we were a fairly, comparatively speaking, folks, we were a fairly healthy nation. Our economy was going pretty good. Yes, all of the insanity stuff was still happening, but it was much more subdued. It wasn't in your face. On a global stage, we still were perceived as a fairly strong nation and powerful nation, all this stuff. In the last 4+ years, a lot has happened. The nation has fallen off this cliff of insanity. You know, I mean, there's men dressed as women everywhere. They're trying to say it's okay for adults to do inappropriate things with children. I mean, they're cutting body parts. All this kind of stuff's happening. The economy's in the tank. Inflation is high. Everyone is running out of money. I've seen reports of, you know, places like Subway's losing money. Starbucks has been losing money. All of these businesses, their sales are down. I've looked at a few other things I can't think of right now, but just general sales of stuff. People are buying less things because they have less money. Their money's not going as far. Globally, we look horrible. We look so weak. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are in just about every factor. We are worse off now than we were, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So if this happens, the tensions are higher, we're worse off. It could be much, much more intense, much worse. even if the disease isn't. And the disease has the potential to be that. It could be worse. But even if it isn't, just comparatively speaking, the place that we are at as a nation is so much worse than it was before COVID. Things could get bad. And so as much as I know most of you want to roll your eyes at this and say, you know, I can handle it, we lived through the other fake, you know, pandemic and all this kind of stuff, don't let this one catch you off guard, folks. Just don't. It could just be all fake, I get it. I'm sure it's all the whatever is being spread has been manipulated and lab spliced and everything else. But it doesn't mean that that it's not going to be deadly, and it doesn't mean that the people aren't going to react negatively to it. Because remember, that's the big thing, how people react to something. It doesn't even matter, you know, if they claim that aliens have landed, you know, in the front lawn of Washington, of the White House, and they really haven't, but the claim is that they have, the danger isn't whether or not they actually landed. It's the danger is the reaction of the people. And so always remember that we have to be prepared for how people react. And so stock up on things, have plans in place that you may have to lock yourself down for a few weeks, especially leading up to the election. How to, you know, feed yourself, personal hygiene, take care of illnesses, stock up on the supplements that you need to kind of help ward off all this kind of stuff, because yeah, it's kind of looking like it's headed that way. So anyways, it's time. It's beyond time to get ready for these kinds of things. And I've been warning you about it for months now. Get your houses in order, folks. Get them prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.